Well. Would you look who it is? Look who's back, ladies and gentlemen. Look who is back. After 2 weeks, we get our Mr. Guaranteed back in the house tonight. Brandon's back. Of course, we got Jonka, myself, Danny Torres. It's a Plug Talk Sports Monday coming to you from different locations today. Brandon's back in South Florida from Gainesville. Jonka is still in South Florida. And I'm coming to you from 9-degree Stowe, Vermont. Very cold. Very, very cold. But it's good to be back, Brandon. It's good to have you back. We definitely missed you. I was getting tired of Jonka's trash takes.
I'm glad to bring a little bit of, color back onto the panel. A little bit guarantees will be made today. I guarantee that.
We're back. It's a Monday night. Jonka, what did we start off with last week? It was good news, right?
I think it was bad news.
Okay, then we'll start off with good news. Since Brandon's back, we'll start off with him. Best thing from this past week?
I would have to say the best thing from the past week, and I think I'm just going straight out the gate. The World Cup is finally here.
Yes.
After 4 years, we're finally back to football, and as weird as it is, in November instead of the summer. Yep. So, kind of excited for the teams. Last round for Ronaldo, Messi. So just to even see action. I mean, I saw Senegal in the Netherlands, and I actually got excited for some reason. You know what I mean? So I'm just excited just to see this. I might even download FIFA on my PlayStation, to be honest with you. So that's probably the best thing I've seen. Soccer fever is back for a whole month. So
I gotta agree with that, man. Jonka?
For me, if you guys don't know, I like boxing. And it got announced a couple days ago. Ryan Garcia versus Gervonta Davis.
Yep.
Announced for 2023 in Las Vegas. Hey, I've been waiting for this fight for so long. A young star versus a superstar, and the fight that everybody's been waiting for because nobody wanted to give us the fight of the year. So now it's finally here, and I can't wait. I'm already purchasing on pay-per-view. Or my go.
I feel like I don't have any good news this week. I feel like it was good news. My bad one was a good news, but what occurred turned it into bad news. Jonka, did I share with you the story of the bridge?
Yes.
It was on this pod, right?
No, it was during you texted me.
Okay. This will be I don't know why this would be considered good news. I just felt like I shall use this time as my good news to share this story. So apparently, to get to this house I'm at right now, there is a bridge that you must cross to get here.
Mm-hmm.
And this bridge apparently is haunted. It's been in America's. They actually came out here. That Paranormal Activity show on Discovery Channel or whatever has come out here. Supposedly, it's called Emily's Bridge because the girl's name was Emily. She was going to get married, and she was planning on running away with her husband because her husband's family did not like her, and she told him to meet her at this bridge. So she goes to the bridge. The dude never showed up. So, unfortunately, she hung herself from the bridge. And apparently, ever since that day, people have experienced all sorts of weird things at this bridge. That their radio's turned off by itself, that they've gotten scratches on their car randomly. Yeah. They've heard all sorts of things, voices or whatever. So already, today I just got here. I've already passed the bridge 3 times. And at night, I'm not going to lie, when you first pull up to the bridge, because this is a very isolated area. There's not a lot of light. So when you first pull up to the bridge, it is really creepy looking, and it is really dark, and it is a very small bridge. But nothing happened. Granted, there's still a whole week left. So let's see. I want to see. I'm brave like that. I want to see if Emily has something to
offer. Now you're testing it now. You see what he did there? You can't just call out the name and expect nothing to happen now. Now you're testing the waters, man.
I'm gonna test the waters. I'm gonna test the waters, Brandon. I'm gonna take holy water with me. I'm gonna start spraying over the bridge.
I don't know. That whole New England area is just weird.
Yeah. What happened, John?
Does the holy water freeze? It's snowing outside.
Yeah, you got a point, man. It is. And that's another thing John could piss me off too. Both of you pissed me off today without even talking to you guys. I get here, I see everything Boston Celtics, and I see everything New England Patriots, and it's both of you pissed me off inadvertently today.
Hey man, you're in sports country over there, man. That's where like at least the Celtics have 6 teams they represent. Oh shoot, 6 teams they represent.
Oh man! All right, let's get to bad news. I'll start off with the bad news. Was this? I thought, okay, yeah. Wait, hold on. Let me. I'm gonna show this. I'm gonna share the second part to you then, and then you guys can go finish up. Listen, I was enjoying this past Sunday night or Sunday afternoon. Me and my father were enjoying the Dallas Cowboy football game.
Mm-hmm.
On the couch, it's lovely. It's a 40-3 game. We haven't seen a Cowboy victory like this in like decades. It's a timeout. We're in the third quarter.
Franchise history, by the way.
Yes, we're in the third quarter, and CBS comes back from commercial, and out of nowhere, Brandon, CBS says, and quote, I'm quoting the right words, "This game is no longer competitive. Therefore, we're switching it to the Bengals and Steelers game." And they took the game off.
No way.
Dude,
no.
You know how frustrated, how upset I was? You took the Cowboys game off that I was quite enjoying to put the freaking damn 3-6 Steelers that I do not care about.
But you know how bad you have to beat a team that CBS said, yeah, screw the TV deal. Let's go to another stadium. Let's go show another game. And Lord and behold, it was a game with Pittsburgh in it. That's okay.
Exactly. And I went on Twitter and everybody was complaining, obviously, because half the people are Cowboy fans. But other analysts and journalists were like, yeah, this game got so bad that CBS yanked it off its airway. But yeah, that made me very upset, very frustrated. CBS, don't do that ever again. Jonka, the floor is yours.
For me, that didn't happen to me, but it would have to be the Marcus Jones 84-yard punt return to win the game against the Jets.
Yep, that was clutch.
That was clutch. But still disturbing that you went 3. It was tied at 3 through a majority of the game with the Jets.
Our offense sucks, but hey, we won.
Yeah. Hey, as long as you get 1 over the Jets, though. I mean, as a Dolphins fan, fine by me. 2 over the Jets, fine by me. Fine by me. As long as we stay, fins up, number 1 in the division, I'll allow it. Go Pats. This one week.
Brandon, what about you, man?
Worst thing. Not a lot of bad things, but what I would say was probably it's got to be like the weather in northern Florida. I'm sorry, man. I can't get used to that thing. Like I was out there. I remember for like ESPN Gainesville, they have over there. I was doing like a high school soccer match, and it was like 40-something degrees, 50-something degrees. I got like a stuffy nose the day after. Then I got to go back out there, bundle up and close. And again, northern Florida, but it's still Florida. So like in the midday, it's like 70-something degrees outside. So I got to take all that stuff off, go back and forth, turn it on when it gets 50 degrees around 3 o'clock, drops like 20 degrees in like 2 hours. And then I got to put on a fur coat and all that stuff, taking a bus back to my house. So the worst part is just been like me throughout this entire week before I got here, just fumbling like 3 different pairs of clothing. Now, don't get me wrong. I dress to impress in the cold. You know what I mean?
Oh,
But like,
this guy's layering up and everything.
that's what I'm saying. I got layers on layers, and I got to go back and forth. I'm like building like it's like I have 20-pound dumbbells on everywhere I go whenever that gets hot. Like it's ridiculous. So, but yeah, that's probably been the most annoying, probably the worst part of the week. I
Hey,
have to say.
who you trying to impress over there,
Yeah.
Brandon? Who you trying to impress over there, Brandon?
What kind of onion layers you got on there?
This man, bro. No, I'm not trying to press anyone but myself. You know what I mean?
Okay, okay.
I like what I see and I wear what I see. So
A little self love that's not that doesn't hurt. That's not too bad.
okay.
All right. First segment of the evening, which I have much to say in. First World Cup match in 8 years for the United States men's national team in Group B, opening up against another national team who I believe has not been to the World Cup in forever, in Wales. And of course, with their leader, Gareth Bale, coming off of a weird season with LAFC where he barely played, but he's the type of player where all he needs is one moment, one chance. And we saw that in the MLS Cup final in overtime. Here's my thoughts on the match. The match ended 1-1, but I feel that the United States deserved the 3 points on the evening. I felt that they dominated this match from start to finish. They had everything going for them. They were recovering the ball. They were playing the intensity, the pace, the pressure that they were putting on Wales was phenomenal. I personally was not expecting this type of performance from the national team. I was impressed. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed all of our young players. I think Tyler Adams for the U.S. was the player of the match. The problem for me becomes you get the goal, Timothy Whale, which was a beautiful ball played in by Christian Pulisic, and you go up 1-0. You have to pad that. You have to grab another goal to make it comfortable and you can breathe. I know 2-0 in soccer is the most dangerous lead, but you still have a 2-goal advantage. And with the way that they were playing, you know, it would look like a second goal would seal the deal. And unfortunately for the U.S., coming into that second half, it was going to be about how can they respond? How are they going to hold on? Because you know, at a certain point, Wales is going to risk it and they're going to go for it. And how are you going to respond to that pressure? I feel frustrated tonight. I'm happy with the performance, but I feel frustrated tonight, I think, as many Americans are, because such a great performance that should have been 3 points and capitalize on that opportunity was wasted away by a cheap just decision by Walker Zimmerman to foul Gareth Bale. And out of all people, Gareth Bale, and you know when he steps up to the penalty spot, 9 times out of 10, he's not going to miss it. And gave, in the 82nd minute, Wales that opportunity to equalize. Matt Turner got a hand on it, but it was too powerful into the upper corner, and they equalized 1-1. And for me, that they threw the game away with that foul, with that penalty, and now you set yourself in a position where you split points with Wales. This upcoming Friday, you have a very big match against England, which was already a big match, but it has a lot more importance now that you know Wales is playing Iran, and you know Wales is probably going to get a win there, which is going to force you to get a win against England if you want to stay alive. Obviously, there's that Wales-England game at the end of the group stage in that group, but I think that the draw puts the U.S. in a little bit of a tough spot. It puts them in a tough spot, and I think that they totally dropped the ball here tonight, and missing these 3 points might cost them. It might hurt. And my personal opinion is that after seeing England today, and I like England's squad, I like England's players. We talk about Harry Kane, we talk about Saka, we talk about Sterling, Phil Foden, Pickford in goal. I think England's players are a lot more talented and superior than the U.S. players. But look, we've seen crazy things. We've seen how England has struggled in the World Cup. I mean, they made the semifinal in the last one, but historically, they have struggled in these tournaments. 2010, England tied with the U.S. in the World Cup group stage, but I really like this English roster, and I think this is a much better roster than it was in 2010, a much tougher, stronger roster. And I just think that they have a far superior roster than we do, and I see it's going to be tough for the U.S. on Friday.
And also, if I could say one thing about England, Iran coming into this World Cup ranked 20th in the world as a squad. Got manhandled by England today, 6-2. Now, does that mean that England's a favorite? I mean, I think it shows that they're a strong favorite coming out the gate, even though obviously first game of this tournament, first game that we've seen either side play. And we haven't even seen the other ones yet, but definitely England is a favorite. So the United States not losing to Wales. The key word is drawing against Wales. They still got the point there. And apparently from what I heard after the broadcast on Fox, 59% of the time, the team that ties in that first game does end up going on past the group stage. And from what I'm hearing, the United States, ever since they've been in the World Cup, any of the time that they've ever played like the first game and didn't lose, they ended up going out of the group stage. So mathematically, I'm just saying there's a chance. There's a chance. And the chance is that the fact of Wales being probably the weakest part in this one, and I say the weakest because besides Gareth Bale, you don't really see them having type of contributors to that team. I mean, when you look at the United States, they basically manhandled that entire first half in the sense of possession and then shots on goal. The second half, sloppy type of football. We didn't really see a United States team that we saw during the Gold Cup trials. We didn't see them during the World Cup qualifiers. Wales looked like something that I'm not expecting to look like against England in the future. Something that I'm not expecting against Iran in the future. All right. Now, again, the Zimmerman one, that one probably worst incident to ever happen in World Cup at the moment. We talk about Gareth Bale getting the ball, his back towards the goal when he gets it, and Zimmerman wants to challenge it, poking his entire body through the legs of this man and tackling him down. He didn't need to go for that tackle. He didn't even need to challenge him at that point. So mental mistake from Zimmerman does cost the United States most likely 3 points because without that penalty, probably would have been a 1-0 win.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, I mean, I still think the United States have a good chance. They just got to figure out how to win against Iran. But the biggest challenge, and I think it is possible, somehow keep a cap on England and try to draw there. Because I don't believe the Wales are going to win another one in the group stage.
I don't know. I don't know about that one, buddy. You said Wales was the weakest link in this group. I might have to disagree. I think out of this group, I think it's Iran. Iran's the weakest link in this group.
I don't know, man. Look, I mean, to give them the respect that they have coming into this one as the 20th in the world, their goalkeeper literally got concussion protocol within the first 15 minutes. So they went against that England squad, holding them down for a little bit, got in their backup, and then, Saka happened. And then, Jack Grealish happened. And it was just open up the floodgates for England. So I think that Iran, because the goalkeeper, I forgot the name. I do apologize on that. However, I do know for a fact he is a Guinness Book World Record holder for the farthest throw as a goalkeeper from the inside his own box. But if you ask me, I think Iran it's much better squad than people think. I think that when I saw from Wales, if the United States is going to give them an issue like that, because it wasn't that the Wales came back. It was the fact that the United States fumbled in this first one.
Yeah.
So I don't think Wales is going to come into, let's say, a game against England or Iran and have the confidence okay, yeah, for sure, we beat out the United States. No, you got lucky against the United States. So if Wales isn't on their A game for the next 2-1 and they get off guard, which I believe they will, then I think the United States, all they need to do, just win one of the next 2 games. And obviously, if you can get a draw against England, because I don't believe they're going to win that one, as much as I would love to see a repeat of 1776, but I'm just saying it's possibility. It's a real possibility.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, like, as much as in my heart as an American, I want to say, and I feel it because I feel like people are going to see this and be like, wow, why are you being so negative? Or like, or after this game happens on Friday, if something surprising happens, like, oh, you see, I told you so. But in my head, like, just looking on paper, I just think that the English have a far superior roster and attacking, firing weapons on their roster than the U.S. does.
No, yeah. No, yeah, of course. I mean, as I mentioned before, they just need a draw against them. Figure out how. I'm not saying they will.
Yeah.
I'm not saying a guarantee yet, but it's a possibility. If anybody's going to be able to do it in this group, it would be the United States.
Janka?
All right. Listen. I'm going to say this as nicely as possible. If USA, I expect them to lose against England, let's be honest here. But I'm going to say this. If they lose respectably, like 2-1 or 3-2, something like that, I will be okay. I'll accept that loss. But if they lose how they did, if like today with England and Iran, 6-2 or a 4-0, if I see any of that on Friday, best believe that this draw today and that loss on Friday will definitely be in play for the next match. And that will watch how they're going to just play all depressed because they know that they're on the verge of collapse, and they're going to be the laughing stock of the entire tournament. I'm warning you right now.
Hot take. That's a hot take.
Yeah, that's
tough.
You're the United States. You tie with Wales today. You fumbled the bag, like Brandon says, right? You go and play England. Most likely, you're gonna get your butt waxed, and then you go and play. Let's say I think it's Iran. Yeah,
Iran. Yeah,
like Brandon said, they're not a bad team.
They're not.
And if let's say you lose badly to England, oh, I could see it happening. I could see a loss 2-1, maybe 2-0. If their emotions aren't checked in, if they're not in it after that loss, I'm telling you right now, that's it. They will be eliminated from the World Cup without a single win. What are you right there?
And we'll leave that there. And we're going to announce Friday is the big game, United States against England on Black Friday, prime time, 2 p.m. Eastern time. That's 9 o'clock in Doha in Qatar. I can't wait for that game already. As soon as the final whistle blew today for U.S., I was like, man, start prepping, getting to work. Greg Berhalter's got some work cut out for him come Friday. But let's switch gears to the other football, college football. Yeah. It was a very miserable weekend for South Florida college football.
Yep.
UM got waxed against Clemson.
Honey waxed.
FIU got waxed against UTEP. I even think FAU lost to Middle Tennessee, I believe.
They did?
Yeah, Middle Tennessee coming out of nowhere for South Florida. What's going on with that?
I don't know, man, but let's start first. We'll give Jonka the floor. And also, University of Florida. I know this is not South Florida, but University of Florida falling, I think, to Vanderbilt.
Yep.
Jonka, UM Clemson. The floor is yours.
Listen, before the podcast, like half an hour ago, before we started, I rewatched the tape. What I want to know is, we've seen plenty of other teams being able to score on Clemson. Multiple scores, multiple touchdowns, right? The whole year we've been seeing Clemson slip up. They've been playing close games with teams that it should not be close, right? They lose last week to Notre Dame. Shocking loss. You would think Miami comes in after beating Georgia Tech, being a little bit motivated. But at the same time, I just think did not make an adjustment what they had to. If you knew that Clemson was a good run stopping team, but their back, but their secondary is absolutely atrocious, and they allow a lot of passes into the middle of the field. You would think, what would you if you were a coach? What would you think? Let's start passing, right? Okay, no. Let's put in our true freshman that has only had one start in his entire collegiate career, and let's put him to throw when he can't throw anyways, right? But then as the game goes on, as our butts are getting waxed, yeah, let's put in our second Jake Garcia, the one that could actually throw the ball a little bit better than Ja'Cory Brown. No offense to Ja'Cory Brown, he can run the ball, but he just is not accurate. I showed Daniel the wide open pass to Restrepo, wide open.
Yeah.
Overthrew him. I don't know where he was aiming at. And then there are other passes that there were Mallory was open, Colby Young was open, Brashard Smith was open. I don't know where Ja'Cory Brown was looking at. I guess he was just too scared because the O line was just getting beat on every play. It was a terrible game. But I'm gonna go back to what I was saying. If you knew from before the game started that Clemson's backfield isn't as good at covering the pass, you should put in a passing quarterback. If you knew that your team the whole year has been having problems performing, then you should put in the players that are best suited for the challenge this week. Yes, next year you can do whatever you want when you have more people that want to play for you. That's next year, right? But for this time, I would have put in Jake Garcia since TVD was injured. He wasn't playing. I would have put Jake Garcia. He's been playing, but he's had some other starts before. He's had experience. I think he's not running the ball, so he's not gonna risk the biscuit too much, and he's a better thrower. That could have been an easy 7-7 at the start of the game to Restrepo. That easily he was solo. That would have 7-7. That could have probably motivated the defense to play a bit better. You know, all these plays just like it's like little by little they just chip out the motivation of my psyche. It's
Listen, I had a great time. I enjoyed all fourth quarters of that game. You know what they say, misery loves company, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed every second of it.
I turned that effing game off at around the beginning of the third quarter, and I switched to playing COD MW2 to put even more stress on my body because
Why would you do that to yourself?
Hey, I don't know, man. So I was just like, screw this, man. I'm tired of this. But I'm gonna call somebody out. Josh Gaddis, what offense are you running, my guy? Like, I know you're having trouble with a bunch of injuries and the Manny Diaz players and all that drama. Pero hacer, seriously, you can muster up more than 20 yards in the second half, bruh. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding?
For most of the game, the only thing they had accomplished was a field goal.
A field goal and then a touchdown at the end of the game, and I'm like, and then that didn't even matter because it was 40-10.
Yeah, and I know we also talked about the poor passing game, but
yeah,
did they even get more than 100 yards passing?
Exactly, bro.
Did they even show any fight in the offense? That
what I was thinking, like Josh Gaddis consistently shows the same thing. He doesn't adjust. He doesn't change anything. It's like we saw in Texas A&M. They just kept running and running and running and running. You see that the run isn't working, but then once it's third and long, then you start passing it, and obviously they're gonna know you're gonna pass it because you're not gonna run it. So then they put extra people on your guys. Bat it down on third and there you go, punt. That's basically the whole game. So you're so predictable. Let's like mix it up a bit, bro. Like, okay, you obviously there's gonna be 3 and outs here and there, but at least make it competitive. At least like try to make an explosive play. Put the Clemson defense on their heels or something. But no, they could not do that.
Hey,
you know what?
You're at 5. Miami's at 5 wins They have one game left against Pittsburgh, one chance to get it right and to be bowl eligible. Is that game on the road or is it at Hard Rock?
I think it's on the road, but let me check
Man, that's going to be tough.
I'll tell you right now. It is. It is at home. At home at 8 o'clock at night.
It's going to be tough. Even if you're at home, Pittsburgh coming in, it's going to be tough. Talking about tough as well, man. This was another game that I turned off. FIU and UTEP. 40-6. It's so frustrating because they can't do anything with their offense. Nothing. Like, no, it's not even a problem of receiving the ball or actually catching it. Because you got Tyrese Chambers, you got Jalen Bracey, you got Chris Mitchell, you got some good receivers there, and some tight ends as well. Rivaldo Fairweather. It's just your quarterback has to be scrambling because the offensive line can't hold him. And then your receivers are just covered. Then you got nothing. And then you just have to throw the ball away or throw an incomplete pass. And literally, that was the entire game. They could not find anything to put together. The running game was non-existent either. It's frustrating when you watch a game and you're trying to watch your team and they just can't come up with anything. But with that loss, the 40-6 loss, FIU is now mathematically out from being able to achieve a bowl game. So Coach Mack's first year with the Panthers, no bowl game, lost to FAU, and we compare that with Butch Davis's first year at FIU. It was a loss to FAU as well, but they made a bowl game and they had a positive record. So that's something to look at right there. But as me and John could talk last week, Coach Mack's having the same issue that Cristobal has in Miami, where he still has not quote unquote his guys that he wants on his team. So you got to give Coach Mack some time as well and see what happens next year. They got Middle Tennessee next week, and I don't think they're going to win that game. Anything you want to add, Brandon, on either UM or FIU?
The only thing I would add, because I remember to start off like the college football season, especially with UM. We went through the schedule. We said, "Oh, this is a game to look for. This is a game to look for. Yep. This is something that Miami has a real chance of making the road to the playoffs." Now, I don't know what exactly next season is going to look like, and I don't know exactly with again, the recruiting battle this year has been changing like crazy in the state of Florida. So for the sense of UM, I mean, this was a phenomenal schedule to make the college football playoffs or at least make an argument.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, the future is bright in Miami. And again, playing the ACC, it never gives you the best option at the start of the season unless you got the best players on your roster. For example, Clemson, who had probably the best roster out there in college football, got whacked against Notre Dame. Yep. And now they're basically their hopes are dead for college playoffs. As easy as to say it. Similar to Michigan next week. But UM and FIU kind of in this area where, first year head coaches, you can let some things slide. You can just say that, hey, this is a rebuild of our program. But at the end of the day, you shouldn't be losing 40 points. You shouldn't be losing by 30. You shouldn't be giving up, over 300 something offensive total yards and only producing less than 100 yards overall on your passing offense.
I agree.
No jab to the Canes, but just saying, I don't even care if you're like a third string, second string, you're playing for UM D1, you better be a 5-star guy ready to play. So, I mean, again, a lot of pressure. You're going against the best of the best in college football. But at the same time, there's just no excuses. And honestly, the least you want to see is some sort of production throughout the season. I haven't seen the Canes improve throughout this year. I haven't seen FIU improve throughout this year. They had some impressive back and forth weeks of wins and losses. But besides that, I mean, Kane's fighting for a bowl game. FIU out of the Shula Bowl, obviously, and whatever Bahama Bowl, whatever you want to call it. The good news, the Gators are at least making a bowl game, but at the same time, I mean, freaking Mike Wright, the quarterback for Vandy, got 3 touchdowns and had like that one 38-hour documentary looking game where he went off against the Gators. And, I mean, the state of Florida is, I mean, new head coaches, new head coaching staff, and recruiting battles. I mean, the disappointing week for Florida, but it's going to be a fun future.
Now let's get into close off the college football segment. Let's get into the rankings of this week. Oh, and I can't wait till we get to a certain point in the rankings because I gotta boast to Brandon.
Okay.
At number 1, we have Georgia. At number 2, Ohio State. At number 3, Michigan. And Brandon, I want you. Who's that for? Who's that for?
Bro, go Horned Frogs.
I've been telling you since the beginning. TCU's for real. I kept telling you.
So stupid.
There they are. At number 4, TCU. At 5, it's not surprising, but they have shocked me this year. At 5, USC. At 6, LSU. Moving up 2 spots at 7, it's Clemson. At 8, it's Alabama. Dropping 4 spots at 9 is Tennessee. Going up 2 spots at 10 is Oregon. Staying stationary at 11 is Penn State. Going up 3 spots at 12 is Washington. Going up 5 spots at 13 is Notre Dame. Dropping 4 spots at 14 is Utah. Going up 4 spots at 15 is Kansas State. Also going up 4 spots at 16, it is Florida State. And at 17, dropping 1 spot is UCLA. Dropping 5 spots at 18, participating in this year's ACC championship title game, North Carolina. Going up 2 spots is Tulane at 19. Dropping 6 spots at 20 is Ole Miss. Going up 1 spot at 21 is Cincinnati. Going up 3 spots at 22 is Oregon State. Stationary at 23 is Coastal Carolina. Not previously ranked at 24 is Texas. And the biggest loser out of them all in this rankings, dropping 8 spots to 25, is UCF. Those are this week's rankings. We close off college football and we head to professional football into the NFL, where we're going to say after this, go ahead.
I just want to say one thing about the rankings.
Go for it.
And this will be my first guarantee of the night.
Okay. There we go. Here we go.
I feel like a lot of people went into the season disrespecting the Pac-12, disrespecting the West Coast, knowing that a couple of teams went to Big Ten, whether in Ohio and whatnot, in New Jersey. Who wants to? But besides that, the Pac-12 with Oregon, with Utah, with Southern Cal, and also the Southern Cal UCLA game, one of the best games we had so far this season. Went to a deep one for like 40-something points on each side. Now, this is a guarantee because I think that Michigan are pretenders, and they've always been throughout this entire season until they end up having to go against Ohio State. So don't worry about the decal, don't worry about the conference, but the Trojans with Caleb Williams, who's already NFL ready, playing like he's playing on Sundays, that will be the number 3 seed in the college playoffs. And I guarantee they make it to the playoffs this year.
You know what? I think after this upcoming weekend where Michigan plays Ohio State, I think there's going to be a shakeup in the top 4 this upcoming weekend. I see it happening, and I feel next Monday night we're going to be saying a different top 4 in those rankings. Heading into the NFL, as we always like to do, I want you guys, after this weekend's performances, give your updated top 5 in the league. I'll go first. At number 1, I have the Kansas City Chiefs at number 1. At number 2, I have to say it, but at number 2, I have to keep the Eagles because they're 9-1. I have to keep the Eagles.
Okay.
So Chiefs, Eagles. At 3, I have to go with Buffalo Bills.
Still?
At 4, I have to go the Miami Dolphins at 4. And at 5, I'm bringing back the Dallas Cowboys to 5, and I'm dropping the Minnesota Vikings from my top 5.
Wow.
Jonka?
I'm gonna agree with Kansas City at 1. Who do I put at 2? I'll put Philly at 2.
Okay.
Now 3 through 5. 3.
I got Buffalo at 3.
Man, I'm gonna have to put Miami at 3.
Okay.
I'll put Miami at 3. Who'd you say for 4?
I said at 4, I said Dolphins at 4. Bills I had at 3.
I put Cowboys 4, then Bills 5.
Okay. I respect that. I like it.
Because the Vikings beat the Bills, and you beat
Yeah.
the Vikings, so
Yeah.
1 + 1 = 2. Then you have to play.
Yeah. Brandon?
I think after seeing obviously a lot of these teams are like going deep into the season are starting to shake a little bit. And of course I'm talking about the Vikes as well as the Eagles. So starting off Kansas City because they're the only team that have made additions with Tony at wide receiver and then now have improved themselves over the Chargers in that division. So Chiefs at 1. I got the Eagles at number 2 because that was a good Commanders-Eagles game. I really don't care what anyone says. I mean, Justin Hurts, he threw the ball the way that you should want your quarterback to throw it, right in the hands of some of these guys, but the defense just had a great day, and Heineke's the real deal. I think people will now see it. But Eagles at 2. Afterwards, I have the Miami Dolphins at 3 and the Buffalo Bills at 4. And that one's a toss-up between the two because the division itself in the AFC East, all 500 teams, above 500, I mean, and better yet, both of them, Bills and Dolphins, their first game they played against each other, which is week 2, that was like a back and forth. And I'm expecting that to be a back and forth throughout this entire season in the standings, and then later on when the Dolphins have to go to Buffalo. So right now, currently, Fins, 3, Bills, 4. And then my 5th team, honestly, I can give it to whoever I want for this one because I don't think a 5th team really matters in the NFL the way that it's shaped up right now. But if I had to choose, I don't know because I would not want to stay in the NFC, nor would I want to stay in the AFC. But if I had to choose a team, I would probably have to say right now, it's hard.
Spit it out, man.
Yeah, you know what? I just can't. I think I'm going to stick with the Vikings. I think I still got to stick with the Vikings. After the horrible loss against the Cowboys, I still think that the win against Buffalo, the streak they've got, going through that entire division in the NFC, I just still feel like the Vikings themselves, as long as Kirk Cousins doesn't play a game past 4 o'clock, that should be a good team. That should be a good team. I like their defense, their offense with Justin Jefferson, Osborne, Grad. And then, of course, you have Dalvin Cook there. The running game is pretty good. And the Cowboys had a phenomenal day. But at the same time, do the Cowboys really go out of their way and blow out these teams? Similar to what we saw with Minnesota. I think that Minnesota one, historic of a loss as it was a one and done. I don't think that ever happens to the Vikings again. I think they continue off through the weak division, as weak as it is, and continue off to make it deep into the NFC. That's what I think. And again, Cowboys, they're still a top 10 team. I have them at number 7, number 6. But I just need to see more out of the Dallas offense. I need to see more than just Pollard or whatever. I just need to see more to really put them over the Vikings.
I'm staying quiet. This is not my argument. So
look, I know the game was obviously lopsided, but I'm telling you right now, that's a 1 in a million game. I'm talking about the season in the NFL, man. I'm just saying the long picture, I don't think the Dallas offense can push through the NFC like the Vikings can. That's what I'm saying.
Daniel.
You're gonna talk to me about an offense of Dalvin Cook, who only had 8 yards of rushing. Justin Jefferson, who is non-existent. Adam Thielen, who is non-existent. Kirk Cousins, who is looking like Kirk Cousins from the Washington Commanders. You gonna tell me you're impressed by that offense?
Not that week, but this season, yes. Because I'm telling you right now, from the way the divisions are looking like in the NFC and down the way of the season, one game, I'm not going to push the Vikings down 8 spots. This one game is just one game. I still feel confident about them down the year compared to what I feel confidence for the Dallas
question
Cowboys.
is not the Vikings. The question is not the Vikings. We know what the Vikings can do. It's what the team that they played against did to them, which is the Dallas Cowboys, which I think deserves the ultimate respect to at least be in the top 5 this week, at least 5.
No, they don't get me wrong. They deserve the respect. What I'm saying is, despite the game's result, I still think the Vikings are a better team. That's what I'm just trying to say. It was an off day for the Vikings. That's what I'm trying to say.
You're gonna be wrong on this one too. You're gonna be wrong on You were wrong about TCU. You're gonna be wrong on this one,
bro. TCU, that should not ever happen. Texas Christian University, what is that? That is crazy.
It is a Christian university in Texas.
It is very crazy to see that in college football. I love it. Don't get me wrong, but kind of weird to see TCU against Georgia in the playoffs.
John,
it's gonna be really weird.
Do you have anything to say about this blasphemy?
What, like about the Cowboys or?
Yes.
I mean, they play exceptionally well on everything: special teams, defense, offense. If they could just play like that every week, they could easily make the Super Bowl. I'm not kidding. Obviously, everybody hates on the Cowboys. Everybody makes fun of the Cowboys. But even me, I make fun of the Cowboys here and there. But I gotta call it where I see it. They played a really good game last night. But the thing is, I see where Brandon is coming from. Where it's like you see them play how they did yesterday, how they played exceptionally, amazingly well. But then you go the week before and they blew to Aaron Rodgers. And so if they can just play like that, how they played yesterday, consistently, like that, then yes, they're a huge threat.
That's a curse, and I'm convinced it is a curse, bro.
I just need if you guys could just play like that every week, then yes, you could easily make the Super Bowl like that.
Because for some reason, Green Bay can stink it up all year. But when they play the Dallas Cowboys, they instantly become the Super Bowl contenders that no one has ever seen before this year, and they play amazing. Aaron Rodgers plays out of his damn mind, and then the very next week after that game, he's back to sucking. I'm telling you, it's a curse. It's a Packers-Cowboys curse. He has broken my heart so many times before. I don't know what it is, but you're going to see. Brandon is going to see. Don't you worry, son. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. But yes, I for the most part, I agree with all of your top 5s. I think they're pretty solid top 5s. Let's get into this is something we have not touched upon yet, but we're going to talk about it. College basketball. We're going to take a look at these rankings right now and see what you guys think. So, through week 3, at number 1, North Carolina. At number 2, Houston. At number 3, Kansas. At number 4, Texas. At number 5, Virginia. At number 6, Gonzaga. At number 7, Baylor. At number 8, Duke. At number 9, Arkansas. At number 10, Creighton. At 11, Indiana. At 12, Michigan State. At 13, Auburn. At 14, Arizona. At 15, Kentucky. At 16, Illinois. At 17, San Diego State. At 18, Alabama. At 19, UCLA. At 20, UConn. At 21, Texas Tech. At 22, Tennessee. At 23, Maryland. At 24, Purdue. And at 25, Iowa. Brandon, you're the basketball guy. We'll let you have a crack at these rankings.
Well, for me personally, because I do a lot of things here and there. I also do an internship for Gator Country to cover men's basketball whenever I can. So whenever I look at the landscape of basketball, I usually look at the Southeastern Conference. However, there was a team, and still is a team I do support in a sense of the college landscape because I was a huge KD fan, still am. But damn it, I love seeing KD in Texas, and I think Texas is back in college. I think that Texas right now is back in college. What was the ranking you said for Texas?
Texas, I'll tell you right now, Texas is at 4.
They should be number 1 in the nation. You look at the win they had against number 2 Gonzaga the other day, like Wednesday, November 16th, 93-74. I'm looking also down the way they started the year. Arkansas, number 10 in the nation at the time, an SEC opponent that I'm kind of familiar with themselves. They're pretty good over there. 90-60, they won that one. Texas basketball itself, I think it's back. I think it's back in a big way. And obviously, these rankings don't really matter unless they get you to the March Madness at the end of the day. Yeah. But in college basketball, I mean, it's honestly more random than like college baseball, in my opinion. I mean, Tennessee was number 1. They ended up losing their game. We ended up seeing Oklahoma lost their starting game against I don't even know who. And Stetson over Florida State. Hell, to tell you right now, because I mentioned before with the Gators just came back against Florida State in the Sunshine State Showdown. Came back down double digits in the first half. Won that game by, I believe, like 9 or 8 points. Florida State, from what I've seen, 0-4 so far. And they've lost a couple of guys. They've also gone out of their way to, lose on their own mishaps. But for college basketball itself in the state of Florida, I mean, the teams are randomized. In the nation, anybody can win on any day. But the only team I see that's dominant right now that has not, moved a single inch is Texas basketball. So I think the rankings themselves are fine, but I would definitely have Texas 1 or 2 right now in the nation. Definitely.
Now, what was this about? And I sent it to Jonka because I was shocked. FAU going into Gainesville and beating UF.
Yes.
What was that all about? What the hell was that all about?
Yes. So for that game itself, because I remember reporting that when I was on site for that, basically the way that the game went to, we have a fifth-year guy named Colin Castleton, probably one of the best players right now in the nation in college. Would have gone pro if it wasn't for Todd Gold, who was the new head coach over there for the Florida Gators, convincing him to come back with UF. So Colin Castleton himself, he ended up having 30 points in that one. And believe it or not, that was his second 30-plus point game this season. Now, despite that, the starters had a 30-point guy. They also had Kyle Lofton, a fifth-year guy from St. Bonaventure, who apparently averages like 38 minutes a game throughout his entire career, give you like double digits as well. You had these starters, Kwesi Reeves, sophomore year, double digits as well. All their starters gave you like basically 70-plus points. Their bench, 5 points from the bench alone. 2 of them from Alex Fudge, and then 3 points from I don't even know who, deep in the bench, who cares? Either way, the Florida Gators got out-bombed. There was a guy named Michael Forrest off the bench of FAU that scored 20 points. And a lot of people went into that game and saying, it feels like a trap game. I wouldn't bet my money on the Gators on this one. And they did it for good reason. The Gators attacked the basket. They never even got to the basket to score. I think they shot maybe like 30% overall from the field that day. I'm not too positive. But I do know in the first half, out of the 11 shots made, 8 of them were in the paint. Only 8 shots in the paint were made that day in the first half. In the second half, continue the story. Now, the Gators slowly did come back on that one. But honestly, as I said before, any given day in college basketball, anything can happen, especially a bench as deep as Florida's, giving you only 5 points.
Unbelievable.
It's insane.
I was shocked. I was shocked. Thank you, Brandon, for that college basketball insight. Sticking with basketball to finish off tonight's show with NBA, the two most impressive teams so far in this young season of the NBA, your Boston Celtics at 13-3, and the place where I was supposed to be at, the Utah Jazz, 12-6. And then, of course, there is the Miami Heat, who are struggling at 7-10 and are actually losing
11th place
at the end of the third quarter, 83-76 to the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yep.
I'm just putting it out there because people would like to say this narrative. They've been saying this narrative since the offseason, beginning of the year. Oh, but we were one shot away from the finals.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, but that was last year, and you had a failed offseason. And now, yes, you have injuries as well. But because of the failed offseason, this is the product of what you're getting from a failed offseason.
I think, for at least Miami's point, they start off the year very weak. I think competition itself got kind of weird, where they had like these close matchups and these like high-powered games. Like they ended up winning the Golden State game, but then again, they also welcomed Cleveland, and then injuries started coming in. So the schedule itself, it's not looking too good for Miami. Miami's kind of struggling right now on the road. They're playing today's game without not only Jimmy Butler and without Tyler Hero, who are basically combining for like 40 points for that team's production offense. But Duncan Robinson got injured out of nowhere in that Cleveland game, which is like, dude, like I know he wasn't even getting a lot of minutes at the first point, but like, come on. I mean, like, where are we going to have to reach him? We have to reach him. Udonis Haslam to get like a couple of minutes himself. I mean, like what's going on right now in Miami in this injury? So I think the Miami Heat themselves, similar to what it was like last year, you had, a bunch of injuries. A couple of guys were out, but the bench showed up. This time around, the bench is hurt this time. Tyler Hero, who was starting off the year on the starting lineup, kind of struggled as the team went back on the bench. Team got better. Now without him, it's like, I mean, the team can't produce. The team can't do anything. No Jimmy, no Tyler, no offense. Unless Bam Adebayo wants to drop 30 a game, like some Joel Embiid stat. So
I hate to give it to you, and I know it's really early, but I got the Boston Celtics coming out of the East again.
Thank you. I mean, again, as every single year, I tell myself I'm still afraid of Milwaukee. I think that Giannis Antetokounmpo is still doing a phenomenal job over there, and that team always improves, especially Drew Holiday on the defensive side of the ball in that backcourt. But I think the team that we're forgetting about, in my honest opinion, the third best team in the East and a top 5 team in the NBA, the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yep, and I was about to tell you too, Brandon. I was like, the most improved and sleeper team, Cleveland Cavaliers.
Absolutely. I said this and unfortunately I haven't been able to do a lot of podcasts because I've been really busy with other articles, but on my last episode of the Courtside podcast, or at least my second to last one, I talked about specifically the backcourt of Donovan Mitchell and Garland, Darius Garland. Now, the fact that Garland is now going to be healthy throughout this entire year and actually playing as a true point guard this time instead of as a pure scorer, Donovan Mitchell has been getting the best numbers he's gotten so far in his career for what I'm understanding right now.
Yeah.
I've seen the Boston Celtics face them twice early in this season, and both of those games were losses against the Cavs. Because of what? Because of Donovan Mitchell giving you 40-something points a game against like the top opponents, of course. Karis LeVert could also come in and produce himself. So you got Karis LeVert, you got Donovan Mitchell, Mobley, and Garrett Allen. That's like a really dangerous young front court. Just the starting 5, I'm afraid of to go into a 7-game series.
And Kevin Love is hurt right now. So, and you add Kevin Love to that.
Yeah. I mean, Kevin's hurt, but unfortunately, I don't know a lot of names off the bench on top of my head, but Cleveland is deep. And the way they run that offense, it's bad. It's bad to go against.
Yeah, I see it there.
Yeah, that's the whole rock. But yeah, I mean, if we're going to be staying on the topic as well, what I would say with the Boston Celtics, one of the biggest things about that team, because 13-3 right now they're getting blown out by the Bulls as we speak. As weird as it is, because I think the Bulls right now, I believe they're like 10th or whatever in the East. But yeah, I believe so.
No, we're 11th. We're 11th.
Or 11th. Yeah. But either way, the weird thing about the Celtics, without Robert Williams, they've been able to improve themselves through having struggles of injuries. Right now, Malcolm Brogdon missed a couple of games due to a hamstring injury. Marcus Smart, who ended up, and again, I know a lot of Heat fans will speculate about this, but an ankle injury that never did get rested up and flared himself during a couple of these games when he got himself injured in Game 3 against the Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals. So apparently Marcus is out a couple of games as well. For some reason, the Heat are winning games with Sam Hauser, Payne Pritchard, and Lord and behold, Derek White. Now, I watched the Atlanta Hawks go against them on ESPN last week, and Tatum did bad in that game. Jaylen Brown was playing pretty poor himself. Al Horford, I couldn't really find him anywhere. But somehow, the bench was able to produce. And I think that especially in the place like the Eastern Conference where like any team, like the top 6 teams can really make the NBA Finals, in my opinion. At least have a shot of it. Let me rephrase that. A shot.
Yeah.
Your depth is probably the biggest thing that will push you over the edge. And I think the only 3 teams that really have like that type of bench to do it would be the Cleveland Cavaliers, the way they played together, the Milwaukee Bucks, of course, and then the Boston Celtics. The 76ers, I've been saying they're fakers. I still believe they're fakers. And I'm going to stick with that because PJ Tucker is not looking like Miami Heat PJ Tucker at all.
No, he's not.
And that's basically their bench. That's basically their core, basically.
Jonka, anything you want to add to the NBA segment before we close off?
Yeah. Okay. I said this before. This, you know what? I'm gonna call these people. I'm gonna call these people out now because I've had some people. To all the MFs that said, "Oh no, Udonis Haslem is useful for the team." Now, when you have all these injuries, right? All these injuries happening for the Heat, and you have this guy taking up a seat because he's necessary for the team. Oh, now you see when you have a player that doesn't produce for nothing, you're paying him money for nothing. And guess what? You could put in a young player, which would give you something. Now you get nothing. Again, you got nothing in the preseason. Now you get nothing during the season. Now you're gonna guess what? You're off season. I'm telling you, bro. I have not seen a single minute of Miami Heat basketball because I warned both of y'all before the season even effing started, bro. I warned you. This is shit, bro. I'm tired of being right with the team. The team doesn't know anything. Pat Riley wants to win a title before he's dead. Boy, drop that already. You're not winning.
Oh my God.
What? This guy wants LeBron James, like Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, every star player for the Heat. Oh, but when it doesn't happen, you're shit. Oh, surprise, surprise. You can't get star players.
Oh, man. You know, it's always a great time when you get to end the episode on Jonka's rants, his frustrating rants about the Miami Heat. And I kid you not, he has stayed true to that word, Brandon. He has not watched a minute of Miami Heat basketball this year. I'm proud of him so far for staying true to that word. I didn't think he'd be able to do it, but he's been able to do it so far. But the season is still early.
But Jonka, I gotta let you know, man. I know you're not gonna watch any of the games. But at least know Jovic and the Bam Adebayo front court. It's a real thing. It's working. It's a real thing. I want to let you know there is some sunshine at the end of the tunnel. I mean, I'm just letting you know.
All right, guys. That was fun. I appreciate you guys watching us, appreciating the show. Of course, I said in our plug of the week, we're so thankful for all you guys, all the support from the website, everything this year in general. We're all super grateful here at Plug Talk Sports, and we hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Have a fantastic Thanksgiving. Eat lots of food. Enjoy time with your families. Watch some football. God bless you guys, and we'll see you guys right back here next Monday night.